Now?
Yep. This is Mom's Basement Podcast.
Mom's Basement!
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
You might have heard some really crappy music at the beginning of this, but likely not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do we have that kind of production budget?
No, I don't think so.
Do we even know how to, graft music onto this?
I don't know.
I'm sure we could, but
Mike,
we're just too goddamn lazy.
Mike, you're the black guy. You should rap over the intro.
Yeah, my rapping skills just aren't up to the races.
Are we still going to pretend that Mike is the black guy?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we're pretending I'm black. I'm not really, but...
People are still trying to guess who is the black guy. Are we going to start every podcast with
that's what it
speculation
should
about
be,
who's the
who's
black
black.
guy? Which one of us is the black guy?
Yeah, that's what it should be.
The problem is they don't know that there is a possibility that none of us are black.
That's true, because it's internet, so nobody knows.
There may also be an Asian.
There could be an Asian, and there could be a girl, too.
No, there's you'd be able to tell, probably, unless one of us is a...
What if someone was a female to...
Transsexual?
FTM?
Yeah.
That's possible.
Yeah, it is.
And in fact, there may be one in some future podcast.
Yes, that is a possibility.
Yeah. So anyway...
But today, Rudy gets to be in the hot seat.
Yep.
Rudy gets his game.
Now I've got a couple of choices for games here.
Oh my god, you have a tub full of games.
I have...
It's a tub! It's a plastic tub and it's full of games.
Oh, it's only full of 2 games. So.
It's not full because it's not even up to the bottom of the basin, really.
Not even.
It was covering the bottom of the basin when he had both games in there. Right. So there's only 2 games, so you haven't pulled out the whole collection then?
No.
We have 2 choices. Now, we're really teasing the audience here, though, because they're not going to get to hear about one of these
Maybe
games.
I'll demo Cooperative Logic on a future one, but I think for this one I want to demo Student Zombie.
Student Zombie.
Student/zombie.
Now,
Student/zombie.
Since you cannot.
Student Zombie is a role-playing game about school shootings and zombies. It's really that simple. I'll just go ahead and read off of the pre-setup thing.
As you have been doing.
Yeah. Players.
Now let me stop you right there.
All right.
What inspired you, sir, to make a game that was a game about school shootings and zombies?
Well, I grew up in the age of... I'm not going to try to be profound about it. I just think school shootings are really badass and zombies are really badass. So
okay.
I felt that I should make a game about school shootings and zombies. And the premise of this game is that you're a bunch of kids that, you hate school, you hate the teachers, you hate the bullies that are picking on you. And you show up to shoot up your school, and a zombie outbreak happens. And instead of shooting your classmates just as their human selves, which I guess is really bad and you want to shoot them and all that, they turn into flesh-eating monsters. And then you have to shoot the monsters down and deal with that and the problems that come with that. So that is Student Zombie.
So it's Romero presents Columbine.
Yeah, essentially something like that. I'm surprised Romero hasn't done it already, actually. Actually, what did inspire me, one thing that inspired me to create this game was a news story about a kid who got in trouble for writing a story about zombies or something.
Right, he wrote a story about a zombie outbreak in his school.
In his high school, right.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, what exactly did he write about? Did he actually write about shooting his classmates and then try to pass it off as a zombie outbreak, or did he write about just a zombie outbreak and the standoff point is the high school?
Right,
right. But I thought I'd combine those two because I thought it was interesting that you have that dynamic of, well, now you're in a survival situation when before it was like, we're just going to go through here and blaze and, kill everybody.
And then probably ourselves.
And now we're in a survival situation. Now we're survival horror. And also because in this game,
So it goes from the horror of being the survivor to being survival horror.
To being survivor horror. That's a good point. I like that. But in this, since all the students don't change over into undead, you still have some people left over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might have a situation where, and I want there to be situations where the victims depend on the shooters, you know, to survive, to help them survive, because it's like, well, after the shooting, you know, or after...
They're the ones with the guns.
They're the ones with the guns. They showed up
to survive.
I mean, how convenient. I mean,
right.
to have a zombie outbreak when, yeah. So that's how I rip my hood. The game is set in the 1990s.
The era of school shooting.
The era.
Which is something people don't really think about. School shootings really are a historical phenomenon.
They are.
They are for most of history. You have occasional outbursts of school violence, but up until the 1990s, it's not really a real phenomenon. Then you have the outbreak, and then it fizzles and dies.
Yeah, no.
By the early 21st century, and it's over.
It's just over with.
Well, so it really is a historical phenomenon. It's not.
Now there was Virginia Tech,
but that was the last one, and he was in college. It wasn't a high school shooting. High school shootings haven't happened.
This is true, and
in the U.S. anyway, for a number of years.
That's true.
Very.
That is true.
There might have been one or two I heard about in Sweden.
There was one in Germany and one in Sweden.
Okay.
It wasn't 2005 or 6. There was the Native American school shooter. Remember?
Oh yeah, what was his name?
I don't remember. He wasn't exactly a stellar example of the forum, but
he only killed like 1 or 2 kids.
It was Joe something, wasn't it?
Joe. Boy, I don't know. I'd have to look him up.
Yeah, that's...
But anyway, your game.
Yes.
This game is a little bit a non-standard equipment for RPGs in that it uses a tub, which you throw dice into, and it uses some cards too. Basically, if anybody's ever played craps, it's sort of supposed to be emulating a craps type environment. Except, so what you need to play it is you need 2 12mm dice, which are the little tiny ones. You need a tub or a shoebox to use as the pit, which is where you throw all your dice. You need, obviously, paper and something to write
Like these
with.
kids throwing their futures away into the hole, into the pit.
Yeah. Well, the reason I chose to use craps as a mechanic is because of the idea. I think you were the one who suggested it. Is in craps everybody is shooting.
Right.
So in craps you have.
So there's the pun there.
There's the pun, but there's also the intensity and the
right. It kind of mimics.
Yeah, because in the school shooting, everybody you come up to, you're gambling your life with, because you don't know when those goddamn cops are going to show up and blow your brains off.
Right,
and
there's also in craps, if you shoot, just to explain the rules of craps, on your first roll, if you roll a 7 on your first roll, then you're good, and you get double your money or something like that. Is that what happens?
I've never played craps.
I know it's something like that.
Sorry, dude.
Street craps, but basically,
I don't know, Rudy. You're starting to indicate who might be the black one here.
Mike. But anyway, craps.
Only one of us seems to have a sophisticated understanding of street craps.
But it could be casino. I could have played at the casino. That's the same there, isn't it?
That's true.
Except the bank covers all.
But you're not like 70 years old.
That's true. But anyway, in craps, let me just read the rules verbatim here because I know I just want to get it right. Shooter, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so if your dice on the first roll show a 2, 3, or a 12, you crap out.
Okay.
So that means the dice pass over to somebody else. And now, after that, if it shows anything but a 2, 3, or a 12, then it becomes your point. So so if I roll like a 6, then it becomes my point. And I can try to hit that again and get more profit, basically.
Okay.
And I use those rules in the game a little bit. Basically, what you do is you have some playing cards, which Hank is throwing around the fucking pit now.
Hey,
there's one on the floor.
Yeah, I missed it a few
Don't
times.
use my cards, bro.
Yeah, that's what you do with the cards anyway. You throw them in the pit.
Yeah, but not on the floor. You throw them in the pit.
Well, I missed the pit.
Oh, you shouldn't.
Man, I'm gonna throw them at your face in a minute.
Ah.
Oh.
Oh,
Nice
don't
work.
Oh,
Couldn't
don't miss
even
the
hit
pit.
his face.
But anyway, you lay down some cards in the pit. Okay. And the way the cards...
No, go on.
Okay. The way the cards are determined are by your statistics. And I will go over generating statistics in a minute. But basically, like, let's say your character had a statistic like shooting 4, and you had 4 points allocated to it. That means you could lay down 4 cards in the pit. And what you're trying to do, the object...
If you were in a situation where you were shooting.
If you were in a situation where you were shooting. And the object of it, basically, is to get your dice to land on your cards when they're in the pit. So, if I'm over here and I'm shooting, you can't see me, but if you could, I would be shooting at the pit. And basically, the GM will put some cards in the pit too that represent obstacles. And your goal is to get your cards, or get your dice onto your cards.
Okay, well let's do a hypothetical scenario.
Let's do
here,
that.
Okay, so let's say this is before the zombies show up and you're just shooting at your skull.
Yep.
Okay, so let's say you have... Now, would it be a 2 in shooting, or would it be something more specific?
It'd be
than that?
something more specific.
So it might
I'll
be
go
shotgun.
shotgun.
Let's
Yeah,
say you
let's-
have your shotgun out and you have a 3 in
double-barreled
shotgun.
shotgun, like Gotti. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And you've got a... So you would get to lay 3 cards in the pit.
Yep. And I'll go ahead and lay 3 cards down. Once again, you can't see it, but I'm laying 3 cards into the pit.
Okay. Now, I'm the GM, let's say.
Okay.
So I might say, okay, well, that ace of spades you laid down there, that's the teacher.
Okay.
And she's cowering behind her desk. And her desk is metal and it's heavy and your shotgun isn't going to be able to penetrate it. So I'm going to partially obscure this ace by placing my jack over it. The
Right.
jack being the deck.
Roger. That's
Desk.
a big law.
Now we'll say this 3 is a kid. And he's sort of ducked behind the the door frame.
Right.
He's sort of but he's scared and he's not doing a pretty good job of it. So most of him is actually sticking out of the door frame,
Okay.
but about a quarter of him is covered by the door frame.
So he's covering about a quarter of my card.
Yes, I'll obscure about a quarter of the card.
And how about number 2? This one here is some preppy bit. She's kind of out there and maybe she's on pot or something. She doesn't really know what's going on, so she kind of missed the boat.
Right, and she's not covered at all. But, let's see. What would be a scenario where you would lay a card down that wouldn't necessarily be obscuring another card?
Well, let's say you had maybe a security guard walking by in the
Okay.
hallway. And you see he's a big fat mall cop,
Okay.
type of security guard, and he's walking by the room as the shooting starts. So I'll lay him over there on the...
So that 8, and he just laid an 8 in the pit, not obstructing any of the existing cards.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hit that 8, it's not you just shot the security card, it's you just alerted the security card.
That.
The shot went by him or whatever, and now he knows about the situation.
Now he knows about it. And what you can do, what you do, is you put up a bet, and this is one part that I'm kind of having trouble with, is how to do bets and stuff like that in craps format. Because what I would think is that the NPCs involved here are what? The security guard, the teacher, and what was the other one?
There's the kid behind the door frame.
Oh, the kid behind the door.
Door frame and the student, the preppy student who's a little high.
Right. So these NPCs have a bet, which represents their hit points.
Okay.
So the shooter has a stack of coins too. And
Or
the
poker chips. in
poker
this case.
chips, there, yeah. Or you can use coins. You can use basically anything.
Tokens, buttons.
Anything
Tokens, yeah.
that will be a
Teeth.
marker, basically.
Bullets, real bullets. But
right.
hey, you could just to have that atmosphere and whatnot. But
You might want to put a disclaimer here that people...
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah.
please don't actually use real bullets. You could die.
Also, do not actually shoot your schools.
Yeah, don't shoot your schools up. That's bad too.
Dear God, that's bad. We are not encouraging
We're not
actual
encouraging
school shootings.
violence here. No, we're not. Or killing zombies.
We're
either,
just-
because
Oh no, we're totally encouraging killing zombies.
no, we can't be encouraging killing zombies.
Zombies are, they're
They're not
living
real.
things.
They're not.
But I mean,
But they have rights too.
if nothing else, it's environmental destruction to be shooting up the zombies.
That's
It's-
true.
You're destroying the zombie ecosystem, maybe.
That's true. So anyway, these NPCs will say put up a bet of 5. Let me count them. That's 5 poker chips that are up. Now, if I want to, you just read here.
And the GM places the
The
bet.
GM would place the bet for the NPC.
MP3s. NPC.
Yeah, MP3. We're not encouraging illegal downloading either here. So, if you want to, let me see. So here's how this works. When it's your turn to be the shooter, the GM will put up a bet of coins. This represents the total life of the NPC, or NPCs. As the shooter, you can choose to cover as much of the bet as you want. So for those who don't play craps, basically covering a bet is just putting up, like this is a 5-coin bet. So I could cover 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of this bet.
Okay.
So
And that's how much is actually on the line.
that's how much is on the line in the roll. So as a shooter, you can choose to cover as much of the bet as you want from your own coins. All shooters start with an equal number of coins. And the NPCs at the beginning start with a big stack. And once the big stack that's allocated for all NPCs is done, is finished, that means the shooting's over and the police show up, basically.
Okay.
So, yeah, so what you choose to cover is called your risk. So that's how much, as you said, is on the line. If you succeed and make it onto your cards, you win the bet, which means you deal whatever damage whatever you risked as damage. Meaning you take whatever you put up and an equal number of the NPC's coins.
Okay.
So let me try to shoot here. Let's do some shooting. Okay, I'm going to shoot from this side of the pit. Now this is my first roll of the scene. So it's my coming
Now,
up.
would you generally want to be that far away?
Yeah,
How far away from the pit do you usually?
I'd say arm's length.
Okay.
If you can't reach your arm, no dropping into the pit. Shit
Right.
like that. Let's see. I think I want to stand over here, actually.
And it's the player's choice where they shoot
Player's
from?
choice for now.
That's something that might change in development.
Ooh!
You just landed both on the security guard.
Right, and in addition, my dice show 4, so that's my new point. So, so the security guard is now alerted and would come storming into the room, and not only that, but he gets to take the chips that I put up, and those go into the NPC pile.
Okay. And then everything resets. Their bet resets to 0?
Their
or?
bet resets to 0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, does that happen after every shot or just after every bad shot?
That happens after every shot.
So, if they
Unless-
had put up 5 and you had only covered 2.
2. They could draw down the bet and take off.
Okay, so they could offer a different bet next time.
Right.
Even if you had taken 2 from them, they could have put 3 back into the general pool for NP3. NPCs. They could have put the 3 back into the general pool of NPC chips and then created a new bet next time.
Right.
Okay, so they could have put up 4 next time, or
Yeah.
2 or 1. Okay.
Yeah. So now, this is a new scenario. The security guard's alerted. We'll take those cards out of the pit.
Okay.
And we've got some danger here.
So just to be clear, whenever if both dice land on one of the GM's cards,
Right.
you lose what you bet.
Lose what you bet. And yeah, that's actually a good point because I have a bunch of things.
Okay.
Let me explain the success.
Now, if both had landed on your card, that would have
Right.
been a success, and you would have taken that many chips.
I would
and
have
that would
taken
probably
that
have meant that you shot one of the kids
Me-
or whatever.
Yeah, basically that. So let me explain how successes work. A full success means you've landed on one or both of your cards and haven't touched any of the opponent's cards. Partial success means you've landed on one of your cards and landed on one of your opponent's also.
Okay.
So all black, that means this pit is colored black, but it could be anything. Basically, that's when you don't land on anything.
Right. You don't land on a card.
You don't land
You
on
land
the
on
card.
the bottom of the tub.
You land on the tub, yeah.
Yeah, and that's both dice landing on not one on an opponent, one on the black, right?
No, that's
Right.
if both dice are
That's
in
it.
the top.
Both are in the top.
Okay.
Yeah. So crap out. If your first dice shows, if your dice show a 2, 3, or 12 on your first roll of the scene, you crap out.
Right, and you mentioned this earlier.
Yeah. And if you establish a point and your dice show a 7 on any of your next rolls before you hit your point again, so if I rolled a 6, then I hit a 7 before I rolled my 6 again, you crap out.
Okay.
So if you crap out, something bad happens in the scene and the dice pass to the next shooter. So when this happens, the GM basically establishes something bad that's happened in the area, like maybe the lights go out, or, something appropriate for a horror movie, cliche, etc. And whatever,
Or maybe double the number of zombies charge into the room from behind you.
Yeah, something like that.
Or something like that. Or something drops from the ceiling on top of one of the protagonists and they're pinned and now you have to get them
Now
out.
you have to get
and
them.
the zombies are swarming or whatever.
Exactly, something like that. And you can also make your point, which I explained. Lucky 7. If you roll a 7 on the first roll you're seeing, you can choose to shoot again at no penalty. So even if you missed your cards or shot on the opponent's cards, if you hit a 7, if your dice show a 7, you can choose to shoot again.
Okay. Now, you didn't actually explain what happened in a partial success or an all-black situation.
Yeah, I was just about to ask the same.
On a partial success, both parties lose their bets.
Okay.
So whatever.
So if you had, in that previous thing, rolled 1 on the security guard and 1 on the teacher.
Right. Well, 1 on the security, right, and 1
on the teacher. And
my
not
card,
on her desk, on your card,
right.
exactly, on the teacher herself.
Right.
Then the 5 that the teacher had put up will go out, and the 2 that you put up will go out.
And they go out of the game totally. They
Right.
don't go back on top of the NPC pile. They don't go to me. They go totally out of the game.
Okay.
Yeah. And on an all black, the shooter shoots again. Which
Okay,
means
so if it hits the bottom of the tub, it's meaningless. You just shoot it again.
just shoot it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same circumstances, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Now, as far as what would happen narratively on a partial success, I'd say maybe something like if I landed on, like maybe I shot the teacher, but the sound of the gunfire alerted the security guard.
Right, exactly. I mean, it'd be pretty clear in that scenario that
Yeah.
the teacher gets shot and the security guard gets alerted.
That.
Other ones might be more difficult to figure out. Like if it had hit the door frame, let's say, and the teacher.
That's true.
What do you say there in that situation? How do you explain you losing something out of that? You losing your chips. I mean,
maybe.
And I mean, it couldn't have. It's only. Well, you said it was a double-barreled shotgun, so I guess it could have hit.
I was gonna say maybe it ricochets back, and some of the fall or some of the flak or whatever hits you too.
Oh, that's true.
Off the door frame.
Yeah, you get shrapnel in you.
That's usually what would happen because it's like you have to explain somehow you losing life and they lose life. Too.
Right.
So it's like probably something.
Or you losing advantage. Your
You
chips
losing.
are not
It
necessarily.
doesn't necessarily have to be representative of life.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, and I think. But let me explain the phases how this game sort of is set up.
Okay, so this is progression of the game.
Progression of it. First, you have character gen. So first, start off by generating some characters. Now you do this via an in-character police interrogation that takes place after the shooting incident.
Okay.
Now the police don't know about the zombies and monsters. They just know a lot of people were shot. So during the police interrogation scene, one player's new character is sitting there clasped in irons in the police station.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they've just been brought into the dimly lit interrogation room,
and this is how the game begins. Then it doesn't begin with any character sheet creation.
No character sheet.
Any kind of out of character generation.
Nope.
It begins with in character.
Your character is sitting there in front of the police, and the police are asking them questions.
Right.
So
and the police are portrayed by the GM and
the other players that are playing the game. So the GM is going to lead the other players who play the officers in asking the following interrogation questions in order to help people generate a character concept. You may ask any other questions you can think of, and you can bring in other NPCs as you need to. So you might ask questions like, well, what's your name? How old are you, kid? Like, why'd you do it?
Right.
You know, you might introduce other details that are, just pulled out of your ass. You might say like, so we heard that you were in a gang. Is that true? We heard you were a troublemaker. Mrs. Crabtree said that you like to kick dogs or something. You know, is that is that true? So now, is your mother at home? Maybe we should call her, and then maybe you could have one person portray the character's mother.
Right, if she's at home.
If she's at home.
You might say, you know what, I don't have a mom.
I don't have, that's
that's
true, because a lot of these people come from broken homes.
Yeah, or, you know, I haven't seen my mom. Or, you know what, you go to the crack house and you find my mom and you bring her here, and then I'll talk to my mom. I've been waiting to talk to that bitch. Something like that.
Or something along the lines of, fuck that bitch. That bitch doesn't take care of me. What the hell are you calling her for?
Yeah.
Or you could even go with the foster mom route.
Yeah, or something like that. And if you need to help provide more details, you can bring in other NPCs. Like you might bring in, like say, a county crisis worker or something who's going to come in and talk to the kid.
Right.
And you might bring in a psychiatrist or something to come in and talk. You might bring in the character's parents if they got them.
Right.
And but you just want to make sure that all the players get equal time with all the
Okay, so the players don't necessarily have to play cops then. They
don't
play
necessarily.
crisis workers,
No,
they
right.
can play all of those things that you listed and more, I guess.
Yeah, you could have corrections officers possibly even.
Yeah,
But you just want to make sure that the players have a chance to interrogate.
Have a chance to be interrogated and be interrogated by.
Right, be the interrogator and be interrogated. Yeah.
Right, and now here's how the characters actually get created. While the officers and other NPCs ask questions, they should take notes. So an example of notes might be like this kid, like a police officer writing this down, like this kid's a social outcast, or you know he's told us that he trained with the murder weapons for 3 to 4 weeks. Now the way you create characters is you pull together all these notes and you assign numerical scores to them. So you might have a list of things like train with the murder weapons for 3 to 4 weeks, social outcasts. Those might be 2 stats, you know, on your character sheet.
Right.
And you get players get a total of 12 points to allocate to all the traits that are attributed to you by the police officers.
Okay.
And that's what we were talking about with the pit when you lay things down in the pit. So let's say the officers attributed trained with the murder weapons for 3 to 4 weeks to me. And I've chosen to put a 4 on that. That means that I can lay down 4 cards in the pit when that comes up.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see. Now.
So let's do a sample character generation.
Okay.
People, okay?
Yes.
Rudy, since this is your game, why don't you be the player character? Why don't you be the shooter?
And you guys can be
And
interrogated.
Mike and I can be the cops.
Okay.
So they just brought your character in then.
Yeah,
I guess they grabbed you and they pushed you down the chair. The 2 cops are sitting there.
I'm not going to tell you shit.
That's fine. I'm not going to ask you shit.
We can wait
Okay.
here all.
You know why I'm not
going
going to ask you shit?
Why's that?
Because everything we need to know is already on the news. You're going to fry. They're gonna. Yeah. Oh, that's funny, right?
Yeah, it is.
Was it funny when you shot those kids?
Yeah, it was.
Do you think their parents are laughing right now? You piece of shit!
Yeah.
Huh?
I think they're probably.
Yeah, they're laughing. They're fucking laughing.
I don't know if they're laughing, but those kids fucking deserved it. They were bullies.
Oh, they were bullies, right? So what they do? They laugh at your
They
dick
fucking
in the
take-
shower, huh?
No,
They point and laugh
maybe.
because you got a tiny little dick.
Maybe.
Is that what it was about?
Maybe. Hey, are you abusing me? Are you some kind of sexual deviant or something? Trying to fucking abuse me?
You know,
Those kids deserve to.
you piece of shit. I took a sociology class in college. What
yeah.
you're talking about right there, that's projection. You're taking, you're a sexual deviant, and you need an outlet for that. So you're putting that all on me.
Well, I'll tell you what, their blood is projected all over the walls pretty good.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, you think that's fucking great?
You
You
think
know
that's
where the
hilarious,
fuck you're
don't
gonna
you?
be projected for the rest of your goddamn life?
Where's that?
Right in a goddamn corrections office, and with the fucking worst of the worst.
Ooh.
You'll be thrown to the animals, motherfucker.
Yeah, you're going to be tried as an adult, and not juvenile detention for you.
Good. I hope they kill me. I don't care.
You hope they kill you?
I wish I was
That's
dead.
another thing. Oh, you wish you were dead?
Yeah.
You wish you were dead?
Yeah.
Well, then why didn't you kill yourself, you piece of shit? That's what all these kids do, right? Eventually, I mean, they're real men. At least when they're done killing their classmates, they put the gun in their own fucking mouths.
I mean,
You
they
didn't
go
have
out
the
with
balls to do that?
They go out in a fucking blaze of glory, motherfucker.
There's your blaze
And
of glory.
See, here's the
Huh?
thing. For some reason,
You know
you
what they're-
weren't fucking
I'd rather
bright
have the
enough.
state do it.
You weren't fucking bright enough to get out there.
Oh, so you want to
blow your heads out when you're on the yard in front of all the cops, or at least have the cops shoot you and make it look like you're the hero. Couldn't even fucking do that. Instead, you gave up.
But every kid that's ever been picked on, every kid that's ever been shit on by the fucking bullies, I'll be the hero to them. That's who I want to be the hero for. I don't give a shit about the fucking
He's
bullies.
the fucking savior
I don't
of
give a
everybody.
shit about the fucking bullies
Fucking
who died.
piece
Fuck
of
them.
shit.
Oh, they were all bullied?
Yeah, most of them.
Most of them. What about the innocent kids you shot, huh?
I don't know. We'll see.
What about the kids you shot who had never pushed you around? What about the other kids who you shot who had gone their whole life being pushed around by these piece of shit bullies you keep talking about, huh? What about them?
Well, at least they're,
And then,
At least
and
they're
then
out of
they
their
come to
misery.
school today? They come to school today? And who's the fucking bully today? You're the bully today. You're the one who's making their day shit. You're the one shitting on them now.
I didn't shit on anyone, man. I just
You
did
ju-
what I
you
had
just-
to do.
You just
It's
have to...
natural selection, if you think about it. All I am is a natural selector. I'm just the agent of natural selection. There's nothing.
Oh, great. Motherfucker thinks he's Darwin.
Yeah. So, you
what?
basically admitted to this thing. I don't know why we even need to sit here and listen to you.
Well, so what? I mean, what are you gonna do?
What are we going to do?
You gonna jerk me around some more? Are you gonna hit me? Would that make you feel big? I'm in fucking handcuffs and you're gonna hit me?
I'm not going to hit you.
Okay.
The corrections officers are going to beat you more than enough.
Oh yeah.
Not until his trial's over, although that shouldn't last more than a day and a half.
Well, he's already given us a confession.
Yeah.
Gonna
Well,
have
who's
the
gonna
DA
give a
in
fuck?
here.
I mean, I don't have any fucking parents or any shit. It's not like I'm gonna fucking. It's not like anybody's checking up on me.
So, where are your parents?
I don't fucking know.
You don't know?
No, I live with my grandma.
How's your relationship with Grandma?
Well, it's good. Now that she's dead.
Dead?
Yeah.
Did you shoot her?
Yeah, before we came up here, we rolled up there and fucking put a cap right in her. She was a fucking mangy old bitch.
Made you. So, this woman takes care of you your whole life.
She didn't take care of me. She didn't do shit for me. I raised myself, basically.
Really?
Fucking, yeah.
You raised yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you think you're self-sufficient then, and you think that you can take care of yourself.
Fucking right. I've been doing it since I was like 8 years old.
8 years old.
Since my
So-
fucking mom walked out and my dad lost custody.
Who taught
He
you
tried
how
to
to
rape
do
me.
it?
Also,
We learned ourselves. We just did it in the backyard. You know, we kind of, I don't know, we just had some weapons. My grandfather likes to shoot, or he liked to before he died. I didn't kill
so
him.
you
he
used
just
Grandpa's guns.
died. Yeah.
Kinds of guns did your grandfather own?
He had a Remington 30 odd. Fucking, he had a 9. That's about it. I don't know. He had a shotgun. We took that. Didn't get to use it that much, but
Where are these guns now?
I don't know. Ask your police. I thought you were securing the crime scene or whatever.
We didn't find the guns in the crime scene.
You didn't?
No, we didn't. So where do you hide the fucking guns?
Don't look at me.
Don't look at. I'm looking right at you. There's no one else in this room to look at. Do you think
Is that-
I want to look at his ugly face?
Is that what they train you to do? Is make eye contact and keep it on level?
Are you worried about making eye contact? Do you not enjoy making eye contact? Could it be because you're lying to me?
No, I'm not lying. I didn't say shit.
Really? So why all this concern about eye contact then? You know that's a major sign of being dishonest, is refusal to make eye contact. We get people in here all the time. You sit them down, you look them right in the eyes, you ask them a question, they start twitching their pupils around, they start trying to evade your gaze. We know right away that they're bullshitting us. Are you bullshitting me?
I stashed them in some lockers at the school. We got some bombs too, and we made some homemade explosives and all that shit.
Man, you must have really given up to be telling us all this now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm caught, aren't I? I can't shoot anybody with handcuffs on.
Would you be willing to sign a statement?
Sure.
If we prepare your confession for you with everything you just said right now, would you be willing to sign it?
Yeah.
You're not going to ask for an attorney?
Nah. Fuck that.
So you waive your rights.
You understand that you're probably facing the death penalty.
They can go ahead and fry me. I don't care. I wanted to die since I was like 10 years old.
Who said they necessarily fried you?
So why didn't you do it then?
Do what?
Why didn't you put the gun in your mouth?
That's for fucking cowards.
That's for cowards.
Yeah.
What? Wasting taxpayers' money? That's not for cowards?
No. I just think it's funny that y'all have to actually kill me. And be the ones that do it. And you have to look at it, too, when you do it. You have to look at me and watch me fry. And watch them put that fucking needle in my arm.
I don't think there's going to be many people who are going to have trouble watching that.
Well,
and those who can, they can sit at home and feel comfortable knowing what's happening.
Well, that's for them, I guess.
And let me tell you this.
You think the families of your victims are going to get real sympathetic when they put that needle in your arm?
Maybe.
You think they're going to be tearing up? If they are, they won't be shedding those tears for you, you piece of shit.
No, they are not. The only thing that may happen is they'll show up at the moment of the needle going into your arm. They will watch, not weep a single tear except for their lost daughters and sons.
Yeah. They'll be crying for their kids, the kids you fucking blew away.
And if you think you're going to be famous off of this, you'll be lucky if they run your photo on the newspaper once.
Well, they'll be.
We will definitely see more of the victims than we will.
Man, I'll be so famous from it. They'll make games about me, man.
Games?
Yeah.
They're going to. What kind of fucking pervert would make a game
like
about
shooters,
school shooting?
Like Doom, you know.
You think
that
Doom
kind of
was
shit.
about a school shooting? Is that what you thought you were doing? You were running through the hallways, blowing away zombies and demons from hell?
Bullies and shit are monsters and fucking, you know.
Think you were on a...
They made my life hell, so I gave them a little piece of hell.
Is that what you saw them as? You saw them as monsters?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah.
You know what? I can't even listen to this anymore. We've got what we need. He's going to sign a confession. Whatever.
Yeah, we're done here.
Roger.
Okay.
So that was character creation.
Now I have sexual deviant. Darwinist.
Darwinist. Social Darwinist or just Darwinist?
I just put down Darwinist, but social Darwinist would be more accurate.
Okay.
Loner.
Loner, okay.
No contact with parents.
Right.
Poor relationship with family.
Yeah.
Thinks he's self-sufficient. Suicidal.
I have God complex,
Yeah,
partial homeless, survivalist,
Oh, yeah.
rape victim,
Oh, yeah.
gun history, no accomplice, assisted suicidal, and mooch.
Mooch. Okay. Oh, that's an interesting list of traits. I'll start with Mikey's, and I'm gonna put. I have 12 to allocate.
Right.
So I'm gonna put 3 in God complex.
Okay.
I'm going to put 3 in. Actually, I'll put 4 in gun history.
Okay, so you use 7.
Yeah, I use 7 so far on Warriors. I'm gonna put 2 in Darwinist.
Okay.
So that's 9. And I'm going to put, and I'll put 2 in, 2 in thinks he's self-sufficient.
Okay. So that's 11.
That's 11, and I still need 1. I'm trying to think. Honestly, I'm going to put 1 in suicidal.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that might help me when I'm in some situation, backed against the wall.
Right.
You know, to go down like they do in the horror movies and shit, like, oh,
Right.
that kind of shit. So I just made my character sheet. That's basically that's a demo of how character creation will work.
Okay.
Now, we already covered the pit, but let's go to the next phase of the game. Now, before you actually start the shooting phase, you spend some time in character at your hideout. So I guess this kid's hideout would have been at his grandparents' house.
Okay.
After he shot his grandmother or whatever. And that's the place your characters go before the shooting to stock supplies, check weapons, and get psyched up, bro. So you do the following things at your hideout. You draw a crude map of the school and the route you plan to take through it. So basically, you want to lay out, for the GM, you want to lay out where some things are and shit in the school. Mm-hmm. Just a crude map, kind of like in D&D, to use that as an example, laying out your adventure plan, your dungeon map, a map of the dungeon. Tiles and all. But yeah, so then you want to make a shit list of students that you want to kill. Now every player should add 1 student to the shit list.
Okay.
So I was the only player for this one, so I would add 1 person to the shit list. Now the map will help the GM frame the shooting scene, and the shit list will help the GM generate NPCs.
So give me an example of what you might put on the shit list. What kind of a...
I might put, like, Sally Hemingway.
I knew you were going to say Hemingway.
Did you?
Yes. Because you always use that last
I never
name.
use Hemingway.
I saw Sally Hemingway in my head before
That's
you
because
said
you're
it.
thinking of Sally Hemings.
Oh,
And I was going to say Sally Hemings, and then I thought, oh, Sally Hemings. But you might say, like, Sally Hemingway Jock or something.
Okay.
And that might be...
Now, Jock isn't her last name. It's Sally Hemingway, who is a
Jock, yeah.
Right.
So she's...
Okay.
And then you might describe a little bit about why you want to kill her. Like, want to kill her because she's a jock and she picked on me and was basically a cunt to me.
Right.
And then, as you add students to the shit list, you want to frame scenes involving them and the shooter. So basically, as you add somebody to the shit list, I added Sally Hemingway Jock. You want to, the GM would then create a scene that shows me and Sally Hemingway interacting in some way.
Okay.
So you might create a scene where we're in the locker room or something. And
you and Sally are in the... Is your character female then?
Okay, let's say I'm female.
Okay.
And we're both in the locker room. She came over and, like, threw my gym locker out and, threw my clothes all over the place. And then she pushed me down and called me a piece of shit. And that's why I want to kill her. But basically you want to kind of frame the scene, just like we did with the police or whatever, where somebody's abusing the kid and they're showing, or maybe not abusing the kid. Maybe it's some kid that's completely harmless and they just want to shoot him for whatever reason. But you basically want to do some character development with the NPC that's on the list. Now, in these scenes, you might explore the reason why the shooter wants to single them out. So, even if the kid isn't someone that picked on them, why did they choose to single that kid out to want to target them?
Right.
Why are they on their shit list?
So maybe the kid just had some really obnoxious hobbies.
Maybe
he was ugly, or
yeah.
Maybe he chewed his food too loudly, or left his gum under the desk.
Yeah,
Some even go so far as to say it's some delusional thing with the shooter where he was excited but wasn't.
Or it could even be a crush or something, you know, like with Joe.
Oh, yeah.
It could be girl they're obsessed with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or something along those lines, or some other type of obsession or fixation.
Yeah. But then the GM wants to assign traits to the student on the shit list, or students on the shit list. So just like we did there, the GM, while this scene is going on, is taking some notes down. Even if the GM is playing the kid, they're taking some notes down, like, maybe Sally is a good athlete, maybe she's mean, maybe she's, whatever. And then you assign 12 points to that NPC.
Okay.
And that's how you make NPCs. Now, the next part of it once you've got a character for everyone, the GM will start by framing the central scene of the game, the one in which you enter the school and start shooting people. The idea of the game is that students show up to do a school shooting and wind up slaying zombies somewhere along the way. So to determine exactly, now this is where it gets a little kinky, and this is a mechanic that I'm not sure how it's going to work, but...
Now, kinky?
No, wonky, we'll
Okay.
say. It's a wonky mechanic. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but to determine exactly how far into the shooting the zombie outbreak occurs, set a timer randomly, and I'll explain how to do this in a sec. The timer alarm should be set for no longer than an hour and 45 minutes, and neither the player nor the GM should know what the timer says. So the way I've done this, or the way I would suggest doing this, is basically you make a playlist on Winamp, and then you put one song on there that's a song and can play, something creative, whatever you want to. Maybe put AC/DC Back in
No, in your
Black,
case, you were using a
I
clip
use-
of someone screaming.
I used a clip of somebody screaming just for horror movie effect.
Right.
So you put that on your playlist, and then what I did is I recorded a bunch of in Audacity. I used it to record a bunch of varying or variable time silent periods of silence.
Okay.
So in some cases there's one silence that's like 10 minutes long. There's one that's 5 minutes long.
Right.
There's one that's a minute long. Then I just put those onto my Winamp playlist, and then I made sure that the sound clip was on there too, and then I hit randomize on the playlist.
Shuffle.
Yeah, shuffle. Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's up to. I just made sure it was about an hour and 45 minutes the total playlist,
Okay.
and then I just let it run, and then eventually it'll shuffle to the track that's the scream or that's the music or whatever. And then once that happens, when the alarm goes off, all the students, teachers, and anyone else in the school gets transformed into zombies or other monstrous, undead fucking creatures. So the exceptions are the player characters and some of the people that got put on the shit list. So basically, to determine which of those ones that you put on the shit list get transformed, you flip a coin.
Okay.
So
For each one.
For each one. On heads, they stay human and they got to deal with the zombie outbreak just like you. They might choose to come to your side, and they might choose to form a group or something and try to survive by themselves, even though you guys have the guns or whatever. And then they're kind of opposing you during the shit.
Which is very Romero. To have
Yeah.
the second group.
They have the second group of people, yeah. But on Tails, they basically become undead monsters. So, and that's called demonizing them. So, on Tails, they're demonized and turned into the undead. Now, when a character is demonized, the GM will rewrite their character sheet to make it more monstrous.
Mm-hmm.
So, demonized characters are basically, for all intents and purposes, stronger versions of the monsters.
Right.
So they're like special undead. If
They're
anybody's ever
boss NPC.
right, I was gonna say if anybody's ever played Left 4 Dead, it's like the special infected sort of.
I was thinking of the named in Diablo.
Oh yeah, the name like
Yes.
Corpse Raper the Gatherer or something.
Yeah, so now it would be Sally Hemingway, the job.
Yeah, the okay. She drops blue rabbits or
Just to make
something.
a blue rabbit.
Yeah, so the GM
That would be like a blue, like,
of
soccer
blue-
jersey
yeah,
or
the
something.
pennies or some shit.
Yeah.
Penny jersey, yeah. So the GM's gonna reflect that by basically whenever these monsters come into play, they'll allocate more of the NPC coin hoard to them. So whatever the GM has going there, they can basically make the monsters stronger.
Right.
Now, as I said before, when the GM NPC pile reaches 0 coins, so when the shooters have reduced it to 0 coins, the shooting is over and it's time to go to the media report, which is the next part of the scene. And this is basically where it gets more freeform.
Okay, but before we move on there, I have a question.
Roger.
How big is the player's coin hoard at the beginning? How big is the DM's coin hoard?
That I'm not sure on. I think the DM coin hoard should be bigger than the players to
I
start
would
with.
say that it has to be at least equal to the number of players you have. So if
Right.
each of the players have 10 and there's 4 players, the
The
DM
GM has
has to have
50.
at least 40 coins.
Coin.
Oh yeah, 40. That's yeah. Yeah, I'd say something like that would be. I haven't really worked out all the details on that, but I think it should definitely be much bigger, so they have a pool to challenge. Because you have to use it to challenge in the first scene. You know, if there's a teacher that wants to defend themselves, or even if there's a student that tries to defend themselves or something, you have to use it to challenge. So.
You know the shop teacher's gonna have a gun under that goddamn.
Actually, I statted out the shop teacher in here. The shop teacher has stats. Was in Vietnam 4. Obscure tools from shop class 4. So the shop teacher should definitely be statted out. But yeah, so basically it just has to be bigger than the students or the shooters rather.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, the media report / the end. When the shooting is over, you want to frame several scenes where the Serpentine Broadcasting Network, and that's what I'm calling it because you know, the forked tongue of the media, et cetera, not representing our country the right way, et cetera. But, yeah. Where the Serpentine Broadcasting Network, SBN, interviews survivors of the incident. The players can take turns playing the survivors. So, you know, even if you've played shooters before, when it's your turn to be in a scene, you can play as the crying kid who, you know, just got his friend shot. He's like, oh, holy fucking shit. You know, this kind of... And then after each survivor is interviewed, frame a last word scene with each shooter. So you basically want to have a scene that's just the shooter alone, or just each one of the shooters alone.
And this is like the video they sent.
It's like that pre-recorded video that Cho-Sung Wee sent in.
Yes.
It's something like that where he's like, you know, all the shit you give me right back at you with PowerPoints, and he's got the 2 guns, and so it's something like that. And you want to. The only rule about it is that it has to be really badass. Shooters, frame your last word scene in a really badass way. So this can't be any weak shit. This can't be weak sauce at all. This has to be full power badass. And
I mean, yeah, you're role playing the shooter of a high school shooting.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be over the top. I mean, it's got to be.
Because clearly they're gone. So
yeah, I mean, it has to be fucking over the top. So the last word scene is a pre-recorded video spot that was sent into the media. And basically, that's going to go on TV and shit. So
if you haven't uploaded it to YouTube already.
If you haven't done that already. And then in the final scene of the game, everybody plays SBN news reporters reporting on the school shooting. So they're showing all these tapes and all these, you know, parts of the shooter's life or whatever.
So it's almost a montage of the game up to that point.
Yeah, sort of.
This is one of the first self-referential gameplay. These are the first ones that actually end with a video montage of the gameplay.
On a loop, no doubt.
on a loop, because it's obviously going to be looped all day.
Now, do you play like music at the end of it, like Green Day's "Time of Your Life" or that clip show music?
Sure, absolutely. You could certainly do that if you wanted to.
Or some kind of like morning music or music that...
I hope you had it.
Can we have the whole Jane Velasquez, whatever the hell her name is, who comes in and just sensationalizes the fuck out of it?
And you're encouraged to play reporters like that. You're definitely encouraged to play the CBN, you know, or even CNN, you know, reporter who's there. It's like, holy shit, you know, this is all about the video games and
why haven't they been protecting our kids?
Yeah, exactly. You can even call in Jack. What was his name? Jack. Fucking
the anti-video
the court
game
TV guy?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is now.
Yeah,
True TV or Jack 4.
Not Jack 4, him too.
The anti-video game guy.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know what you're talking about.
Lawyer.
Jack.
I forget.
Yeah, because the Jack 4 guy's a lawyer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're
Who gives a crap what the hell his name is? He's a
bad guy. Yeah, he got disbarred.
The dude in Florida who we don't give a shit about.
Yeah, so you can even call in that guy and have him, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So, but there's one more little rules nitpick here, though.
Yeah?
If you have shooters, or if you have monsters, that can threaten the player, they can shoot dice against the player.
Oh, okay.
So when a monster shoots dice against the player is forced to put up a certain number of their life coins. So whereas you could cover any part of the bet before,
Right.
you might be forced to put up 5 or 6 or however many. And so you're forced to risk something. That's to simulate, you're now in a risky situation. You're not just blowing kids away anymore.
Right.
Fucking, And now, that's basically, that uses the same rules as the craps thing, but the monsters always shoot first.
Right.
So, and that's basically it. Just to go through the order of scenes again so people aren't confused. You got the police interrogation, which is character generation. Then you got the hideout, where they're at their hideout making the shit list.
Which
and all
is
that.
like setting generation.
Map generation and NPC generation.
Right, so
Meaningful
it's
NPC
like
generation.
what a DM would do pre-game.
Right.
It's
That's
session prep.
Right, that's a good point that you said it that way, because this is a game that's supposed to sort of try to reduce the load on the GM to prepare everything and that kind of stuff. Sort of like Mike's game too, where you had the, terraforming. In this you have, hideout scene where you help create NPCs and that kind of stuff. Then you have the shooting / the zombie scene where the zombies come out. Then you have the media report and it's over.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the game. So, any questions on rules or any problems with?
On rules?
Yeah.
No, I don't see any real. Let me think.
Is anybody confused about anything?
I don't think so, but you've explained this game to me a few times in the past, so the rules are pretty clear to me at this point. Mike, though, maybe there's something that's not.
Any confusing?
Nothing that I can think of. Nothing's really confusing. I mean, I did play something similar to this, although not exactly the same.
Right.
But still, nothing confusing to me.
Okay.
Now, I have to ask you this question for the microphone.
Okay.
The content of this game
Yes. Here we go.
is not what you would find in most RPGs, even indie RPGs. I mean,
I don't know.
There are Jeep Farm games that deal with, like child molestation.
There is a Jeep Form game called Gang Rape, where you play as a gang rapist.
And those type of issues.
Yeah.
But they always play it from a very particular stance, which is, this is about dealing with these awful things that happen to people, and this is about empathy, and this is about compassion, and this is about understanding these difficult, horrible situations.
Right.
Clearly this game is not about empathy and compassion.
No, this game is totally, you're not really supposed to feel bad about the jocks that you're blowing away or about any of the... Now maybe there is sort of the crossover when you get to that, like you said, that Romero type thing where you have the two different groups and they're both, it's highlighting both of their, struggles to survive.
Uh-huh.
And even, maybe if one of the if one of the preppies or something that you tried to kill comes over and has to join your group because you have guns and you can protect them from the zombies, you might kind of start to humanize them and sort of, and they become a more human character, even though, your characters are obviously were against them and have something against them, but it kind of serves to humanize them a little bit. So it's not all like, these people are dickheads and they're just meat to be blown away type of thing. It's not all supposed to be like that, but it's mostly just supposed to be for fun. I'm not making any, pretenses about being profound or trying to make a statement about, violence in America or any shit like that. This is just supposed to be good old-fashioned monster killing.
Now, there are going to be people, and I would say probably the vast majority of people, who would say, well, this is not subject matter to be taken for fun.
This is not light matter here. This is serious shit that happens in
dark matter.
in real situations.
This is not subject matter to be taken for voyeuristic pleasure.
Sure.
What would you say to those people?
I would basically say fuck off and play it, because you'll have fun, I guarantee it. I guarantee you'll have fun, even if you want to say that for the camera. And that's what everybody, honestly, would be saying that. I mean,
So
there would be some people who would
they
absolutely
would all
not.
say it for the microphone.
But I think at the end, people would maybe want to play it, if not, maybe just for bile and just to see how far you could take it. I think there's a real release in playing games like that, and playing games that are, just for fun, even with monstrous or horrific types of subject matter. Subject matter that you wouldn't really, things you wouldn't do in real life, and again, not advocating school shootings or violence or any of that shit, but things you wouldn't necessarily do in real life. It might be a release to kind of, I would hope there would be some kind of game elements, gamey things there that would bring maybe people to the table who wouldn't otherwise, want to
the board game type, or the people who are there to see get the mechanical satisfaction of the game.
Right.
You don't really see this.
I hope that
it's not about shooting kids or even shooting zombies. It's about shooting craps for that.
Yeah, I hope there might be a little interest there. But if not, then I don't know. I guess you can fuck off. The game's not for you. I guess you're not equipped.
If all you're going to do is focus on the first part where the school shooting takes place, and not focus on the second part where you have the dichotomy of the issue, which you could actually really look deep in. He's not that deep.
Yeah.
It's just there is a dichotomy there that you can't ignore. That's all there is to it.
Right.
Then you're missing the goddamn point.
Yeah, that. And I think, as you say, you could look deeper into it.
I think you definitely could. I think the presence. I think that if the game was simply go into the school, shoot your classmates, and then some of them turn into zombies, then you shoot the zombies, you would say, oh, okay, well, this is a game. This is a game that could easily be interpreted as an endorsement of school shooting.
Yeah,
But I think the presence of that interrogation scene at the end, the possibility for a scene that explores, the aftermath for the potential victims, creates more psychological depth there than that.
Right.
It becomes something other than it becomes more than just shooting schoolmates and shooting zombies.
Right.
But I have to ask you another question for the microphone. There are going to be those people who say, but, what if a bunch of kids sit down, they play this game, and they want to shoot up their school, so they draw a map of their school, they put their own classmates in it, they fill the shit list with the people they really want to shoot, and then, oh my god, they use this as a way to practice, to prepare for their future school shooting. What do you say about that? What would you say to that person who says, this is basically a tool to train future school shooters?
I would classify this game as a murder simulator. But no, I think basically anything can be used like that. If kids really wanted to do that, D&D has the tools for them to do that.
Right.
There's tools, you can lay, as I said, tiles and all. You can lay down the tiles. You can get your school map online. I found my school map,
But you weren't not for these purposes.
Not for these purposes, but I have found it online. I remember we used to maintain the school website, and they would have that shit online, and you could go look at the floor plan. And it's easy enough to plug that into D&D. Module creator and just put a grid over it. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden now you're in the school shooting people up. I think just because this one, the subject matter is a little bit different. I'd say play responsibly. You got I'm not trying to sound pretentious or anything.
No.
I'm just saying, people are going to do what they're going to do. I can't fucking stop people from doing bad shit.
Let's be honest here. If they couldn't figure out how to do it without the help of this game, then they weren't fucking smart enough to pull it off effectively in the first place.
There's
that's
real.
What I'm thinking.
That's absolutely because there's real things you would have to do to prepare for a school shooting. This game, obviously, I'm not telling people, I'm not instructing people on how to, shoot a gun. I'm not instructing people.
There's no firearms.
There's no firearms. There's no manual that comes with this game.
If you really wanted to, this game could be modeled for terrorist training just as easily.
That's true.
And clearly, I don't even know where to go from here. But I think
Well,
you get my
there's
point.
another defense that people would offer for the game, from your perspective, which is that maybe this game could serve as an outlet for people. Especially since it has that extra layer of psychological complexity to the
That's
opening
true.
in the beginning. They could start out playing it as, let's see how it would feel to shoot up my school. I'm really pissed off.
Yeah.
And then they get, locked down in the interrogation scene, and then they have to think about, why do I want to do this? What is it that I want to get out of this? What is it that's really bothering me?
Right.
And then they have to play the scene where they're playing as the grieving families of their classmates.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Maybe they have to reflect
to-
on what they're...
to tell you the truth, I don't really believe in things as an outlet.
Mhm.
At least not.
You don't think so? You honestly don't think that
Because-
people can get...
No.
Not even from personal experience, you've never...
No, because his personal experience as someone who's had problems with, psychological problems. I'll be honest. I mean, someone who's had, who's had some issues with depression and other shit.
Mhm.
A little more extreme than that, but I won't get into it. But, when you feel like you're gonna do something bad, you go out and do it, and it just sort of happens sporadically. There's no, I wouldn't have played this game if I were a shooter who was that fucked up and who was that in that mindset. My parents had abused me. My parents had, these kids had abused me at school. I wouldn't want to be playing a game, to take out my frustrations and.
But
Okay,
you
then.
think it's that simple, though? You think that it's just, like, you break and then you go out and do it? Isn't there... There's planning involved.
Oh, there's planning, yeah.
And I mean, isn't there a possibility that, something that encourages reflecting
Yeah,
could discourage you from taking that planning to another level?
that's true. Yeah,
Or
I just
if
don't.
something offers the same type of emotional relief,
Yeah,
couldn't it delay?
yeah. I think maybe, but I just don't want to sound pretentious. And
I mean, let's be
Try to
frank
be
here.
like-
How many people have not been killed because you had the opportunity to play D&D on that night instead?
that's true.
I do have
That's
to
very true.
add one thing here to this.
Right.
What would you to say if some psychiatrist, therapist, whatever, got the bright idea to try and use this game as as part of a therapy session,
As
for
a
some
therapeutic tool.
for someone who might be leaning toward this, or at least a therapist or psychologist or whatever would think is leaning toward this?
I'd say, I'd say thank you for playing my game. But other than that, I probably wouldn't say very much because I'm not real fond of the psychiatrist, psychologist. Not.
And I know these are not the questions you really want to answer about the game, and this isn't what the game's designed to do, and this isn't the level at which you want the game to function.
No.
But these are the questions you're going to face.
Oh yeah.
And if
absolutely.
this is going live on the interwebs,
Oh,
these
yeah.
are the questions people
Oh, no,
are asking
absolutely.
themselves while they're listening
Oh, no,
to us
absolutely.
discuss the game.
I want people to judge the game based on its mechanics, and if it has problems with the mechanics, I want to know about that first before people go out and say, "Oh, school shooting this and that." Judge it from the mechanical.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. If you're gonna shit on this game, take a shit on it on the mechanical level first, and then you can say all the shit. You're a sick bastard. You're encouraging kids to shoot up the school. You're doing this and that and the other things.
Do you think that's likely or possible? And this is something that, because of the subject matter of most of your games, this is something that you have to face a lot, which is people who are going to dismiss your games based on the subject matter, based on the fact that they find its content offensive, and who may not even look at your mechanics.
That's true.
Yeah, the guttural emotional
And
response
your games
is
always
good.
have a very unique mechanics.
Yeah.
But what if people can't get past the subject matter to see the unique mechanics? Do you see that as an obstacle for you?
Yeah, I see that as maybe an obstacle. And as I said, I'm not trying to be out there just to be out there. I'm just doing it because this scenario, when I framed it in my mind, just seemed like a fun, interesting type of scenario with a lot of interesting, as I said, the Romero angle.
Right.
There's there's a psychological angle. It just seemed that, there's the angle of, are they really shooting monsters?
Right.
Are they or is this just some kind of fantasy?
Right.
That
Have
they're
they
looking?
been, because once the shooting begins,
there's
becomes kind of
adrenaline and
fantastical.
there's-
Exactly.
Right.
And there's all these their psychological state is altered by it.
Right.
So are they actually shooting monsters, or are they
Or they just
have they lapsed so far deep into their
Right.
fantasy at this point?
Right.
This is how they perceive it.
right. But as I said, I'm not trying to. I think there's some genuinely interesting things to be explored. I'm not trying to just do it for shock value. Believe me, I got plenty of games that
You
just
do
for
it for
shock,
shock
value. but
So
no,
this is not your shock
this
value.
isn't a shock
game.
value game. This is just a game to have a good time about. And if people want to shit on it, from whatever angle, I don't really care. But that said, I guess I know some people will probably be pretty offended by it.
Some people will be pretty.
Yes.
I don't know.
Not people in this room, but
No.
there obviously some people are going
Yeah.
to have problems.
Yeah, some people have problems.
But you know what? Frankly, some people have problems with.
With Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, exactly. The most vanilla RPG that
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah.
There is, a large vocal group of people who think this is demonic, this is evil, or this is psychologically and socially unhealthy.
Yeah,
Now,
no,
I'm not sure if your game does much to help role playing as a cause.
Oh, well, I don't care about that. I'm not up for role playing as a cause.
Cause.
I'm up for me. I forget who it was that said. I think it was a Negro League baseball player who said. He said, "Don't I'm not. I don't. You don't have to be a black man. I don't have to be the first black man who played in the major leagues. I just want to be a man playing in the major leagues. So it's like I'm not here representing RPGs.
You're representing your RPG.
It's just my RPG. I don't really care about the rest of the.
Yeah.
This isn't defense of the genre here.
It's reciprocated anyway, because it's not like most independent RPG makers are out there. It's, for the most part, getting support from the actual big name RPGs isn't like one big tight community. It's not like that. At least not from what I've been seeing.
There is no RPG community.
Community.
Not
The
anymore.
community
It's
is
not
made
like
of
the black
players,
community.
not
Right,
creators.
exactly.
I don't know, Rudy. Man, you're the one who has not only the knowledge of street crafts, but now just quoted a Negro League baseball
Everybody knows the
player.
Negro League does.
Certainly you do.
Yeah, I do.
Have any of your relatives played in the Negro League?
I don't believe so. Nope.
So the mystery of who the black player is continues.
Yep. We'll find out.
This
Listen.
could all be a deflection thing, though, since no one has accused me.
I think you're black.
You think I'm pretty black?
Yeah. You're easily one of the blackest here.
Blacker than me.
Mike's light skin. Just for the. Yep. So any other meaningful questions or?
I don't know. I mean, okay. Well, you've talked a lot about what you don't want people to take away from the game. What do you want people to take away from the game?
I want people to take a fun experience shooting zombies, killing monsters, and maybe a little bit of psychological depth to it. Maybe explore, maybe why you hate some of the people you hate. Maybe explore why who's on your shit list, You can't detach yourself from your characters 100%.
No, you can't.
So, I mean...
And that's a discussion for another time.
That's a whole other
Yes.
can of worms, I guess, yeah.
Well, so that's student/zombie.
Yep.
Oh, why the name?
Well, like I said,
Because you
it's-
seemed pretty committed to the name earlier.
Yeah, like I said, it's not totally clear whether or not they're actually shooting zombies.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you have students who are also zombies because they're ingrained with this idea, the social ideas, and et cetera, et cetera.
Etc. Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I think unless you have any last words about your game, that pretty much sums up episode 2.
Yep.
In Mom's basement, or
Mom's basement. Yeah.
are we going to do that every time?
Yeah, we are.
We are. You are.
Yeah, I am.
That's great.
Yeah, Mom's
Yeah,
basement.
that's lovely.
So I guess next time we'll be discussing one of my RPGs.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Roger.